Welcome, everybody, to the live customer sessions. My name is Koen. I am the host today, part of the go-to-market team here at Stacks. Today, we have Alfie in the room. Alfie, nice to see you again. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Alfie's experiences with Stacks, and I will be running through our platform for just a little bit with Alfie's comments. Very happy to do it. Happy to see you, Alfie. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It would be great if you could do a very short intro about yourself and about what Bumper does to give the audience a sneak peek there.
Yes, of course. So I'm Alfie, the finance director at Bumper Group. We are a payment orchestration and buy now, pay later company in the automotive industry across Europe.
Thank you so much. And I'm obviously from Stacks. I think everyone who is live here knows what Stacks is and what Stacks does, but we optimize and we automate the month-end close with our platform. Now, Alfie has been a very loyal customer from us since pretty much the beginning. He put his trust in our platform. So we are very happy to have him here today. Alfie has been very helpful also in optimizing and improving the product that we have built so far. So once again, thank you so much, Alfie, for your collaboration and for being here. Let's dive straight in. Alfie, could you maybe share a little bit about your current stack, for example, which ERP are you on, and if you use Excel, for example, Google Sheets, and how you have been running the month end previously?
Yeah, of course. So historically, we were on Xero, but in mid-2023, we moved over to NetSuite for a variety of reasons in terms of the business resilience it gives, the improved processes, etc. So that's our primary ERP. Then the majority of our balance sheet recs are all done in Excel. We have a significant amount of data going through from our own platform, which comes from our data team. Historically, that's kind of how we've run it in general. But with increased business complexity, we're always looking at ways to improve our processes and make ourselves a lot more resilient.
It's good that you mentioned that increased business complexity, because at some point with the month end, especially if you're scaling fast, there comes a moment when at some point the ways that you used to do things, they don't really work that well anymore. Can you maybe explain a bit to what that moment was and why?
Yeah, of course. I think the key thing with something like NetSuite is that it is super customizable and it is really resilient. It's great. It's a great tool. However, it is quite hard to keep it up to date with how quickly business changes as you move from startup, scale up to enterprise levels. And I think that the trend in finance at the moment is you need to do more with less. You need to be more accurate. You need to be more timely so that you can really support the business, but whilst not increasing a significant headcount. So that really comes down to driving good processes, accurate, speedy, all of that jazz. So I think that if you're not looking at trying to automate or embed AI, I think unfortunately you just see with more and more business complexity in terms of pan-European or all over the world with tax compliance, all that stuff, then it just starts to lag on timings, more to do, etc. And then you end up being less of a finance business partner, less of a strategic partner to the exec team. So you need to find ways to be as accurate as you were, but in a timely manner and with as the same amount of people as you had 2 years ago, for instance.
So now you're a company that's growing super fast, you're scaling fast, growing way bigger, moved to NetSuite, but then the month-end close is starting to take too long. So this is a moment that you started looking for a month-end closing tool, or let's say maybe even point solutions to fix certain parts of the month end. So what were the biggest challenges you were hoping to solve there?
Yeah, I think in terms of challenges, and it's something that no ERP really did well previously, but in terms of visibility, it's often when you go in and you're checking your balance sheet reconciliations or anything along those lines, you quite often can't see everything in one go. You don't have a bird's eye view. It's very zoom in, clicking through what isn't always the most intuitive platforms, etc. So a key one was visibility, and I think that gives you a lot more comfort and control in general, and allows you to focus on key areas, etc. I think we wanted to monitor what processes were taking the longest and then try and make those more efficient as well. And then there were certain things that I knew about Stacks, as we'll come into, that I knew that would take a lot of the manual work away, automate a lot of what has historically been quite painful and quite slow, but not actually the difficult parts of the job, actually, like the operational getting it done.
And how long approximately was the month-end close taking you at this specific moment?
Probably between 10 and 12 working days. The thing I would say about that is that a key reason, again, that we moved over was that we created 2 new entities. We created multiple product lines. We did acquisitions, etc. And then you've got all of the other stuff that layers on: tax compliance, reporting dead changes or deadlines. And so it was being able to do more with the same hours, if that makes sense, I think was the key thing for us reaching out. Actually, my CEO that pointed us over to you, your incredible seed round, and you start digging and you see the customer base that you already had, the team, and we wanted to explore it a bit further.
Yeah, so I think we started talking approximately 8 months ago. That's how long that is ago already, Alfie. So, and there were obviously multiple challenges that you were trying to solve, but there's so much to the month end, and there's so many different things that you can try to solve and automate. So, what makes you eventually choose Stacks and go with Stacks?
I semi-mentioned it before. Sorry, I stole the thunder, but we looked in, we saw companies like us that have thousands and thousands of transactions in the payments industry, which do make balance sheets more complex. So if you could do it for them, we believe that you could do it for us. We saw where the product was going in the future in terms of you're going to automate more, use AI, use agentics, etc., which we're really excited about. And the demo went really well, and you promised us a smooth onboarding and delivered that, because that's always a huge worry, especially across ERPs. It's an accountant's worst nightmare, I think, ERP moving and trusting that onboarding is going to be smooth. Yeah, that's why we ended up going with you.
And now, obviously, you just mentioned a few challenges that were going on at this moment. The close was taking 10 to 12 days approximately. Can you maybe walk me through a little bit about what things we have solved and help you solve, and what the impact was on the business there?
Yeah, so I mean, firstly, the Stacks AI Excel assistant has been unbelievably helpful for the team and myself in terms of posting journals automatically rather than the back and forth, and I'm sure we'll go in detail a bit later. For me, it was really helpful in terms of using my time strategically and focusing on areas of month end that were taking longer. It also really helped us with accountability. So we set deadlines for certain things to be done. And if they're not being done, then I can focus on them, help out. So it really does give you a really strong overview. It makes you feel a lot more comfortable. And that is what financial control is all about. And it also, the other thing that it did help, which I don't think we realized at the time, but was redistribute workload appropriately, because you can see exactly what everyone's got, exactly what everyone's doing, exactly when everyone's doing it. Sounds super micromanagey, but actually it stops you micromanaging, because yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. Now I don't need to check in how things are going all the time, because I can just see. And then the other huge thing that we had is, as I kind of mentioned before, on the account reconciliations and balance sheet, you can see side by side every line. We've got between 100 and 200 balance sheet recs. I can see where they're matching, where they're not, their movements. The workbooks are embedded in the platform, so I don't need to go digging around in files. It just makes the whole review and control a lot simpler, as well as adding all of the automation and speed efficiency gains that we get as well.
And then how many days does the close take you now after, or while using Stacks?
So I would say that it was growing from 10 to 12, and now we're aiming to get it done in 8. But what I would say is that and I don't necessarily think that's a fair reflection of the tool, because before October last year, we didn't have 4 of these entities, and we didn't have such growing significant products that we had. So it's a bit of a blend between time saved and complexity added to the business that is it's difficult to track, but it's much more efficient.
Yeah, because you're scaling as well quite rapidly. Also, new funding rounds, new people on board, and so complexity keeps growing. Which, instead of increase the close time even further, you manage to reduce it and stay quite stable there.
Yes, yeah, correct.
Great. And out of all of the features that we have right now, which would you say has been the most impactful for you?
So for me, they kind of go hand in hand, but I think the team would say the journal automation and the automatic bank matching. I personally would say the account reconciliations and the Flux analysis for myself. because historically that was me going in and out of NetSuite, going in and out of workbooks, checking that it's all correct, whilst now I can see it in one place and review it in one place.
Yeah.
And then the Flux analysis is if there is an unexpected movement, instead of going into NetSuite and using that interface, I run a quick report showing me line on line, transaction level, able to delve in to exactly what's changed month on month or quarter on quarter, year on year. So again, it comes down to increased visibility, increased ease of use, allowing me to answer questions that I get a lot quicker.
Thank you so much for your answers so far. I think the people that might be watching now, maybe there's a lot of familiarity between the case that you just presented versus what's going on in their situation. I'm sure they would love to see how we do this. So how about I start sharing my screen so I can start showing everyone actually what we are doing and how we are doing it, but also what it looks like. So I'm going to share my screen now. Here we go. We are now in the visibility, the dashboard of the month-end close. Now, this is something you didn't have before, right? Yeah. And this was the the Hunger Games that we mentioned, because you can see now the progress per preparer, so you don't have to micromanage anymore. But for you as a financial director, this particular dashboard is very helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can see here, you can see how you're performing versus the two lines that you've got in terms of when people actually, where the reporting deadlines that we set versus what we actually achieve. And that also allows us to, the other thing it does is it allows us to focus as a team on what can be done quickly, what can't be done quickly, what do we need to wait for? Are we jumping in and out of different things when actually let's just get this done, then this, then this? So I think there are certainly efficiency gains there in terms of workload management, prioritization, etc.
So everyone that is tuned in. So what you see here, so on the dashboard, these lines, maybe that I can explain that a little bit more in detail. So the gray line is based on historic data where your team should be. And the blue line is where they actually are, because not every task takes the same amount of time, obviously. So we do not measure this based on the number of tasks, but on the average time it takes per task. So the gray line is the average time it takes, and the blue line is where your team actually stands. So this gives a very accurate overview of where the team currently is. Now let's maybe go into the checklist, because Alfie, back when we spoke, Bumper was managing this in an Excel. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Could you maybe walk us through how you are currently leveraging the checklist and how that's set up for you?
Yeah, so historically, as I'm sure many finance teams do in terms of tracking, like Gantt charts, etc., they all used to be in Excel. And similarly with ours, it was as well, when things were done, when they were reviewed. And those things are also quite easy to not update quite correctly. Probably the amount of times I didn't date when I reviewed something. So it being all in here, what's been done, what's been reviewed, what's overdue, allows us to, again, focus our time where we need to deliver reporting when we say we're going to deliver it. And really gives that sort of thing, and hitting our own deadlines gives the business comfort in terms of when they're going to receive stuff, in terms of their decision making as well. So yeah, it really has helped us.
Maybe my explanation for everyone who's tuning in. So our checklist, very intuitive. You can focus it, obviously, this time on my focus, so you can see exactly what I have to do. You can focus it on assignees, on task types as well, on entities, and on categories. So this makes it possible for us to track everything when it comes to the month end. Now, let's maybe go to one specific task that I prepared for actually reconciling a bank. So you can see within the task, the work is done. This has multiple advantages. So the control framework here is in place. In this case, it's Naman, but let's change that to me, because I'm actually the one doing the work now. And we can set a due date. We can make this task recur every month. And we want to do a very simple bank reconciliation right here, right now. So maybe Alfie, the bank recs, you were previously doing that manually, correct? Can you maybe walk us through how you were doing it and how you're now doing it with stacks?
It's always, I think it's been a frustration in any place that I've been, but we used to do bank recs in Excel. We obviously have multiple accounts being across Europe, but also in the UK with payment control accounts, etc. There are a lot of bank reconciliations that we needed to do. Historically, that would be someone posting essentially the NetSuite figure into our tables and making sure that the following tabs aligned and matched that. And then in terms of how we now do it, I don't know whether you want to begin your...
I'm definitely gonna show it, but you can keep voicing over, because you were doing great.
Yeah. So and now it is very, very different. We do our bank reconciliations. We've got all of our transactions in NetSuite, and then what we do is we drop our bank statement into Stacks, it automatically picks out the balance that should be, and then it gets the GL balance and matches it exactly, hopefully. In the times where there are differences, then it points out the exact transactions that aren't correct, and then it allows us to fix it very, very easily, versus historically where it would be flipping between the Excel bank recs and the PDFs, scrolling through, maybe some phone calculators thrown in there as well.
Exactly. So good for the audience to know. What I did was I uploaded PDF here, but the file format actually doesn't matter. You can just throw it in here and it will match the rec balance against the GL balance. We have a strong OCR technology that scans this document for the right rec balance and matches it live with the GL balance captured from, in this case, NetSuite. Now, hopefully there's not a difference, and then you can submit the task immediately and then you're done. So that already saves a lot of time. But imagine if there is a difference, you want to figure that out. Now, usually this takes companies a long time because you have to go line by line to figure out where the difference comes from. That was also the case for you, Alfie, correct?
Correct.
Let's run our AI module, and I will share this tab instead. There we go. What is now happening is we are grabbing, on one hand, the bank statement from a live banking feed within NetSuite. And on the other hand, we are matching that line by line, transaction per transaction, with the GL balance. So what you will notice here is that within a minute, we can match approximately 1,100 transactions very accurately. There's a few differences between our systems and the more legacy systems out there. Our systems are not rule-based, so you do not have to manually set up all kinds of rules for this automation to happen. Our AI matches based on context. So it matches based on the name, on the currency, on the date, on possible ID, and it's able to figure out all kinds of patterns in order to make the match. Because the higher the match rate, the less manual work needs to be done. Now, our match rate is on average 95%, and it can grow upwards to 99% the more you use it, because our system learns over time. So let's maybe give this a few more seconds before the AI matching is done. But what you will see is, there we already go. Great. So what happened here is we matched 1,131 out of 1,133 transactions. Now that's great, because the only manual work now, the only work that's now left to do is to just process the leftover, so the difference that was filtered out. Now imagine doing this process over and over again for all of the individual accounts that need reconciling with a load of transactions. Alfie, how much time does this save you on average?
Yeah, I would say our bank recs are done 2 days before they used to be done. I think there's also one of those tiredness elements of that as well. It's now a lot easier and you can rattle through a lot more of them versus getting a bit fed up and tired of going through them.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, definitely some decent efficiency savings.
Yeah, that's what I hear and also always mention. It's not just the time savings, but it's also just a headache. No one likes to do this, right? No. So we take that pain away. All right, so let's go to the recons overview. You mentioned this was of big value as well for you.
Yeah, of course. I think it kind of speaks for itself when you look at it. You go down all of your account reconciliation. When you click in them, you can see the workbooks. You can see when they were performed. You can see when they were reviewed. So one of the key things that we're quite excited for, we didn't get stacks in for last year, obviously, but it should significantly help out with our audit, just giving them access to this. But yeah, just visibility. That's it. I don't need to go in and out of NetSuite and workbooks and double check that even the copied and pasted numbers are correct. I can see it all here. And then I can, if there is differences, dig into it, or if there isn't, then just do my regular checks on the actual work itself.
So for the audience, I think I forgot to mention, but the documentation is stored all centrally within the task itself, and audit trails are automatically generated. So that will indeed greatly help and speed up with the audits itself. I think I want to show the last part of the demo today, and that is the all-time favorite, specifically for accountants. That's the Excel assistant. If you can maybe, while I'm setting that up, already walk us through how you used to upload journals into NetSuite, the pain of that, and how we can help out with that.
Yeah, again, it's just reducing the manual workload, really, and jumping in between both NetSuite and Excel. But historically, we would make it as automated as possible using Excel. We would do formulas to generate the journals, then download the CSV, then go into NetSuite, log in, upload, then go to the balance sheet, for instance, get the value, drop it back into our workbook to see that it matches. So a few steps in that process for sure, versus now, which I'm sure you're going to show.
I'm definitely going to show it. So for the viewers, what you can see here on the top right, there is a Stacks extension. This is our Excel assistant. Now, I think you all have maybe sometimes experienced the pain of uploading a journal manually into NetSuite, and it then bounces because there's an error. What our Excel assistant does is it mirrors your NetSuite environment. So it live tracks if there's any errors before posting the journal. Now it spotted a few, so let me quickly fix them here. You see this one was a euro, this has to be USD. This one has to be capital letters. And by the way, this is an example payroll entry, right? And we see here it requires a description. So let me just call this payroll. All right, so it says your journal entry is ready for upload. Now, usually what you would have to do is you would have to export this one to CSV, or into NetSuite, figure out in the depths and darkness of NetSuite where you have to post this one. And this takes a lot of steps. And especially when it bounces, that's even more annoying. So we take away the pain of both of these challenges. So let me click this button. It's already uploaded. There we go. So I think everyone can appreciate and imagine how much time this maybe could save. I think you for sure do, Alfie.
Yeah, and if you do ever need to make edits, etc., it's a huge time saver.
So you can just make edits here, and I can maybe show that later. If anyone, by the way, is interested in a demo, let me know. And then you can just simply update the record and it updates the journal immediately. So these edits are also very easy and fast to make. Now, we cannot just do that, but we can also bring data back. So let's turn this particular sheet in a synced sheet. What it's doing now is we can bring back your saved reports, your saved searches from NetSuite, and we can bring it back with one click in Excel. So let's maybe look at the balance sheet, the monthly balance sheet, and let's sync this with real-time data from NetSuite. There we go. So usually what needed to happen is you have to export this particular report. You have to load it into Excel. But imagine you have 8 reports and you need to update them, I don't know, like 10 times per month. I think you can appreciate that and understand that building 8 of these synced sheets, for example, one with the profit and loss monthly as well, and sync this sheet as well. With one click of a button, we can sync all of these reports with real-time data from your NetSuite. So I'm sure that will save a lot of time for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's now one click to update our management accounts. It's all been set up from historic, so gets it in a nice format, etc. Yeah, one click updates is unbelievably helpful. It used to be me asking my senior management accountant to go and download it and copy and paste it in.
Exactly. Yeah, and what a lot of our customers do as well is they make 8 of these synced sheets and they update them all with one click. And then on top of that, they build their automation flow so that the entire reporting package is automated. Cool. With 2 minutes left on the clock, maybe last question to you, Alfie. What are you most excited about when it comes to Stacks?
I'm really happy with the product as it stands, and we've made some great efficiency gains, but I'm really excited to see what more automation, the agentic AI that you're going to embed. And I have a feeling that you've got some pretty cool stuff coming to get month close even easier, even more automated, even quicker, even more accurate. So yeah, I'm excited for the updates to come.
Yes, we absolutely do. So when it comes to further automation, we have a very big announcement coming up. So keep an eye on our LinkedIn page. We will shout it from the rooftops, of course. I am very excited about this. So I would love to show that to everyone soon. With 1 minute left on the clock, I want to thank you all for watching, all of the attendees that were here today. It's a pleasure to do this. And keep an eye on the page because we will definitely do more live customer sessions with tiny parts of demos soon. If you're interested in what we are doing and you would like to see if this is interesting for your business, reach out to us. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I still have hair. Right here, I don't, but it's still me. Or reach out to us on stacks.ai. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining.